A very warm welcome to you. I'm very happy to be here with you today, guys, and to talk about some of the incredible assets which you brought onto the CIFF floor with your beauty brands. On the one side, with the Lernberger Stafsing brand, which you brought over and are definitely contributing to a lot of excitement on the floor, which I already saw. And also, obviously, the founder and owner of Melyon. I see that there's been a lot of interest and a lot of people stopping by your stands and stopping by your presence here at the CIFF. How have the past couple of hours been for you at the CIFF?
I mean, for me, it's been amazing. I think it's great to see business partners, new business partner, fellow colleagues, and etc. to just touch bases and show what we have worked on the past years, and also new release that is coming. So for me, so far, it's been so good, and I'm happy to be here.
I totally agree. It's amazing to meet our fellow colleagues, and we only meet like once or twice a year to touch base, as you said, and also to talk about experiences and things like that.
Both of your brands have been selected to be part of the curated panel by Corso Como, which is at the entrance of the CIFF and presents the quintessential selection of beautiful Scandinavian featured and narrowed brands. So, how do you feel about this? Is it an honor? Is it a surprise? Is it something exciting for you to be among a selection of the Corso Como team?
It's really an honor, actually. The first time I visited Corso Como was like 15 years ago in Milan. And then I went to the store in New York, and this is like a dream come true for me. So, yeah, I'm really happy.
No, I can totally agree, and I think it's always a privilege and an honor to be selected. Because when you are inside your environment and inside your business, it's pretty hard to look up and understand if all people around you also think what you're doing is beautiful, and get that kind of recognition. I think it's just giving you an impact, and as I mentioned, it's an honor for sure.
Yeah, it's really like a catalyst for the brand. And also when the people that we meet in the fair, and when they see that you're with the Corso Como stand, they're like, wow, you know?
So you definitely belong at the stand and
Yeah.
at the area created by 10 Corso Como. My question is now more towards your expectations. So whenever you were coming to a trade show, be it the CIFF or any other one, what is your very first, idea how you enter, a platform like this, and what do you expect to always happen?
For me, I expect, of course, business, because that's why we're here, but also, to kind of something that we touched based on a little bit before, to kind of speak to each other. You can see that a lot of people and colleagues have the same kind of problem in the industry, and we can share a few moments, with each other and say like, oh, how is it going? What is going good for you? And etc. to share that kind of knowledge. But of course, we're here to trade, of course, and make an impact and show what we get and what we have been working with. So I think it is a great way to start with the networking for sure, and transform that into conversion and business opportunities.
I totally agree. Completely.
A curated brand environment in a concept store or anywhere else is something which has been getting more and more and more popularity across the business. Do you see that a lot of your clients find their habits of buying and their buying behavior reflected in all of these multifaceted and multidisciplinary stores?
Yeah, I think that the customers, they like to move more into very curated spaces. And we talked about it earlier
Yeah,
today
exactly.
that what if some brands start their own curated space to showcase their product and their lifestyle and their philosophy?
No, I totally agree. I think it's important to kind of own your segment and
Yeah.
own your space, but also collaborate with partners. And of course, competition is always good, but to kind of go together and create an environment for the new customer that want to see created spaces and different kind of elements that align together, as you're doing right here with Corso Como. You speaking about Scandinavia, so you are creating the Scandinavia portrait of what beauty skincare can look
Yeah.
like, and I think that is kind of interesting and professional.
Yeah.
We've celebrated Scandinavian design across various fields for years and years and years, but I somehow have the feeling that the Scandinavian beauty hype is only in its like starting point.
Yeah.
How do you believe this is gonna transform over the years, and why do you think that time has come to now, everyone for them to be watching at like a Scandinavian beauty market?
I think we're in an environment and situation when there are so many brands and there are so many products, and then it's very appealing with the Scandinavian lifestyle and the Scandinavian approach to how to incorporate products into your routine. I mean, the Scandinavian routines are quite simple and accessible and easy with fewer products. You don't need 15 products for a skincare routine. It's enough with 3 or 4. And I think that's what's so appealing for the customer.
I totally agree. I mean, that's have been Melyon's, vision for a long time. Less is more, and that is something that I truly believe in, and I also truly believe that a lot of people have so many products that they actually don't use in the bathroom cabinet, So I think, of course, you should still buy it, but I think you should buy quality instead of quantity. Yeah.
Simplicity and cleanness when it comes to the Scandinavian manifesto and living a meaningful life is definitely transforming and is an integral part of your narratives for both of your brands. But when you think back of, starting these first steps, when you started your brand, what was like the first narrative you wanted to build around? What was like the DNA you wanted to capitalize around?
For me, it was inclusivity. I think for me, have always been a kind of outsider when I grew up. I felt like my duality. I mean, my parents are from West Africa, Ghana, and Togo, but I'm born and raised in Sweden. So this kind of duality where you don't know where you belong have been something that I was seeking for. And with my brand, I mean, I just felt like I have two good experience for two different worlds. What happened if I combine them? So my narrative started to build from that, but also to give back and lifting up a minority that actually are a majority in the world, to showcase that everybody can be beautiful no matter where you're coming from. I think that was something that I was striving for, to change the ideal of beauty.
On the personal level, that is absolutely incredible. And I really encourage more and more founders to use this in their narrative. But you've been mentioning that basically you combine two worlds based on your origin.
Exactly.
When it comes to the business part of you, when it comes to the business part and the business narrative you built around the brand, I also found a very interesting insight on basically you having a previous life in the business before you started working on beauty. Maybe you can share something with us and think and explain how these two worlds have merged into something very successful and how it helped you further.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been working and operating as a top model before, and I've been working and been the front face of major brands around the world, everything from Rolls-Royce to Vogue, GQ, Ralph Lauren, etc., and the list goes on. But I felt also like that helped me shape the narrative of universe, and everything from that. When you speak with, like, I met Virgil Abloh, John Galliano, etc., how they build the universe around the brand, that have definitely helped me in form of like creating and build a space and a platform where people can feel like they belonging to. I think that is something that's really helping me a lot, but also, to be able to fix a whole production by myself, or scouting models at the street and things like that you kind of understand and get used to after all this casting, and meet the editors and meet the agencies and meet the creators around those giant brands that we have in the world. So it gives me definitely a benefit.
In common days, the affection towards a brand is often rooted in the shared values of the brand itself and the consumer applying it onto their skin. But when it comes to building up a visual story around the brand, how important is it to build a beautiful visual story around the brand?
I would say it's everything. The story is everything. The story carries the brand. And for me and Patrick, who comes from the world where we helped other brands to build their stories and building their concepts and selling their products, it's really been a natural part of building our own brand from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the story is something that's important because
Yeah.
now the consumer doesn't just buy product, they buy something that they want to relate to, but also understand the story and the narrative behind the brand. And as we can see now in the media landscape, we can see like the founders out there and the founder storytelling is so important nowadays. So people wanted to know who's the person behind the brand and kind of understand that person's vision and of course their beliefs. So they want to follow something that they can definitely believing and trust. So I think the storytelling builds trust.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Ultimately, I totally agree with this. 100% signing this.
Yeah.
One of your first and very signature products so far and up to the moment is like the Melyon hand soap.
Yeah.
So how did you start with the idea of having a hand soap as a very first product? Why a hand soap?
It's actually not the first product. My first product was a skincare line. I started with like 4 products. So milk cleanser, day cream, night cream, and detox serum. So I started with the face. If I could go back, maybe I would start with the hand soap. Much more easier, you know. But the hand soap has been our major success in the last like 6 months. We have been selling a lot of them, and we kind of shape a new identity of a hand soap in terms of like how we mold our bottle, but also how we create the scent in terms of a ritual. And I believe the fig was something that was interesting for me, you know, and that have been really successful. And I think people wanted to see something new. And I think it's always been that with Melyon that we're trying to, you know, dissolve the shape and make a new shape and trying to make it more complex, but it gets interesting. I think people will always see standard products out there, and I do understand why people doing standard product, because it's a nightmare to mold products. But
now we
yeah,
know,
now we
now
know,
we
you know.
know.
But on the other hand, I it kind of challenged me to think outside of the box and do something different.
And Melyon is all about inclusivity in skincare. How do you build a brand and like a product composition which can serve so diverse skin types?
I think for me, it was always to speak to the people that was not included in the conversation and stand up for them. Because in the end of the day, I've been a guy that always vote for diversity, inclusivity, sustainability, and actually spoke about it a lot of times back in the days on Tumblr. So
Oh my God.
yeah,
Do
so
you remember that time?
yeah. So I always been that kind of guy, you know, so wanted to stand up for something. And I think for me, the major thing was when I started to understand like 90% of the world population has darker skin. Why is nobody focusing on that? So that was my kind of shift to the industry to actually, people think I focus on the minority, but I actually focus on the majority.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Great
Clever.
point. And when it comes to the Scandinavian minimalism, which definitely both of you reflect in your brands and in your brand identities, when it comes to the textures and scents and the feels and like the ritual of using different textures in skincare products, how do your products differ from most of the other ones?
Oh, that's an easy question because we've been working for so many years helping other brands develop their products. A lot of the brands today, they are corporate brands and they are decisions are made in the boardroom, but we are artisans. We've been working with this for like 30, 40 years. We've been working with customers. We've been working with companies developing their products. We know how it should feel. We think we know how the customer would like the product to feel on their skin, in their hair. And I think that's what makes our brand unique.
Definitely.
Through your business and obviously working with various other brands, I'm sure you've gained a lot of know-how on what to do and what not to do when you
Exactly.
do an own personal brand.
Yeah.
What was the most essential thing which you definitely wanted to channel when you were founding your own brand?
We wanted to, the challenge we took on was to create a professional product, but for retail. We wanted to bring, we felt that the discussion was not with the final customer, it was with the salons that was selling the product, and we thought that was wrong. And we also wanted to prove that it was possible to make professional product with high performance results to an affordable price. So that was the challenge for us.
And how did your professional experience and professional journey shape in a way how you turned your own brand into such a success?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, if I knew what I know now, I would never have started. Right.
That's what a lot of founders actually say. I love hearing this.
It's really been a look and learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew nothing when we started. This was 15 years ago. I could hardly write an email. So we had to learn everything from the basics, chemistry, production, logistics, everything. But I think that's what made us confident and also more selective.
Definitely. I think also the to kind of be a bit delulu during your way and think like you can conquer the world is something that needs to be there, you know, to be able to come to the get-go to start a brand.
You need to be a bit naive.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that, and think like nothing is impossible, which is not, you know what I mean? And not to put all those kind of giant on a pedestal, you know, and be able to think like, okay, I can go into that retail, or I can, you know, sign a contract with this distributor or whatever, you know. So I think you need to have the kind of naivety that you mentioned, and just go for it, and learning by doing.
And actually, I remember no one believed in us when we started. And our own business, they turned their back to us. And they really questioned our business idea and our mission. But today they're like, good guys.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
This is actually the biggest appreciation.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you get this market feedback each and every day. And this definitely is an incredible driver to develop more and extend and expand. How many point of sales or point of service you are at? Because you mostly serve a lot of the professional hair care salons.
Yes.
But you're extending the line, I believe, into more and more and more units. So how many point of sales and point of service are you at currently?
Oh my God, I don't know, actually. I can't answer that question. It's so many. And we are, every week we get new customers. We are present in the Nordic countries. We're present in Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and it's continuing to expand.
If you could think of identifying, let's say, 1 or 2 new markets which you would love to conquer in like 2026 or 2027, where would you go?
I would say Middle East, actually. So we're having a really good discussion with them right now, with the super premium retailer. So hopefully we will get them. It's a really big market, and they spend a lot of money on beauty.
Do you have the feeling that a lot of the rules we have all been used to in here in Europe or in here in the Scandinavian region are entirely different, or are being completely redefined and rewritten once you enter a new market?
I definitely agree. I think you need to study the market and understand the culture of people, do's and don'ts. You know, the marketing in the Middle East is not the same marketing in Scandinavia and in Europe. You know, so you need to adapt, and I think being adjustable and flexible in your way of doing things. And it's the same for China. I mean, China, you know, most of them, they shop through the phones. You know, it's a different kind of behavior you need to adapt to as well. And I think you need to do your due diligence in terms of like marketing and market understanding, you know, before you're entering a market. And I also believe in, you know, take it slow. I mean, you always want to grow as fast as possible, but I also believe in like build it brick by brick, because you need to have the foundation before you are ready to enter and conquer a new market, you know. So from my point of view and my perspective, I always like to take it a little bit slow, you know, to kind of understand the full picture before I enter a new market.
So learning on the go, but definitely making good experiences on it. Incredible. I often heard that you see beauty as an art itself, which it definitely is. How does this perception of beauty shape your vision when it comes to creating packagings, campaigns?
Oh, it's reflected in everything we do, in everything we breathe. I mean, we see beauty everywhere, and beauty is our pole star in our life. Without beauty, there wouldn't be me or you or you. I mean, beauty exists in everything, and if people say that they can't see beauty, I say, look again. So, yeah, it's the pole star for us in the way we develop the products, in the way we do our visuals, in the way we approach life.
Can you walk us maybe through the development of your very first products?
By God, actually, it can start with a look from a lady that passes you on the street in Paris, and you feel her smell, and you see her hair, and you see the way she made her makeup, and that starts a conversation between me and Patrick, and we start to figure out how does the way she live her life? What does she do for breakfast? Does she live with someone or whatever? And then that starts a dialogue, and that dialogue leads to a product. It could be like that.
So building a character.
Exactly, building a
behind-
character behind the product, and then the product comes by itself.
Do you approach
I kind
development in a similar way, or
kind of. I understand what he's saying, and I definitely agree on the most point he's saying. From my point of view, it's like you can combine it into storytelling, because that's what it is. You know, it's a dialogue and storytelling around it. And I also like to work backwards, so to speak. The product is like secondary in the discussion, so we talk about every element around it before you're actually talking about the product. And then you narrow it down, you know, to the final product. And I'm not a female, I don't know how to give birth, but that's like the same kind of process you're going through before you like release it to the world.
this
you
is
know?
how it feels?
Yeah, exactly.
In your way.
In my way, yeah, definitely.
Incredible. What I truly love about both your brands is that you are aligning around the idea of also educating and being ambassadors for a very clean beauty concept. How do you perceive the current generations and the people growing into using more and more and more beauty products are now dealing with the idea to only use clean beauty products?
I think it's good, but I also think like people following a lot of trends nowadays, because we're getting so much information from everywhere, all the social media and everything goes so fast. And I think a lot of people actually use more than what they need, and that is the wrong path. You know, it's just gonna become a rabbit hole. You know, when you consume and use so many products, you know. So that's why we're going back to, again, what we spoke about, like less is more, and kind of understand what you're using and take it step by step. Because I see beauty and skincare in general as like going to the gym. You know, you need to be consistent. You need to go every day to see results. You know, it's not a quick fix. If you want to have a quick fix, I'm sorry, you need to lay down under the knife, you know, because it takes time, you know, and by then also how you're consuming things, how you eat, how you're taking care of yourself, that will reflect on your inside and your outside.
It's also a lot about education,
Yeah.
because clean beauty for us is not the same as it is for an American. It's everything is defined by rules and regulations. So first we need to educate, and we need to make some pointers of what is clean beauty.
So over-treating our skin and over-treating
Yeah.
our hair
Yeah.
is definitely something we are facing every day.
Yeah.
How do you want to make sure that the essentials which you feature are definitely serving the purpose and the idea of someone, and to treat their skin in the best possible way?
I think authenticity, to be transparent and be authentic in the way you communicate what is inside your product. And if people ask, you can explain and stand behind it.
Yeah.
I will never release something that I cannot 100% stand behind. And that's also go back to like, what are you standing for and what are you believing? And does it make sense, you know, before you're releasing something? And it's not just because of the top line you want to release something, is actually doing the homework before you're doing that. But I think also it's important that you have a responsibility for the generation and the next generation that is coming, to actually telling them the truth and be authentic.
In terms of research and development and exciting new products you're working on, because you just mentioned there's like a constantly evolving process
Yeah.
of both of you developing further lines.
Yeah.
What can we be really excited about in the next couple of months, or maybe within this current year?
As we talk about the hand wash in the beginning, I will develop a new scent in that. So I'm working on that actually. And also another product that would be an ingrown hair treatment that I haven't kind of seen, you know, in the industry that much. So
That's
that would be
exciting.
super exciting.
For us, it's the perfume category. So we will launch 8 new unisex perfumes later this year. And we've been working with a French female nose for all 8 scents. They will all be unisex, 100 ml eau de parfum. So we're working on very high concentrations. And it will not be typical Scandinavian. More like, we like the old style French, deep. It has to smell a lot.
Incredible. So it's going to be a tiny bit of more opulence
Yes.
added onto the brand narrative when it comes to the
Yeah.
scents you're working on.
Yeah.
Incredible.
They will go from like the brightest, almost greenish rose to the darkest, deepest, like woodsy scents. So there will be something for everyone. But we try to keep it quite compact. So we like the idea of it's the same person, but on different stages and different times in her life or his life. It could be like the morning scent, the work scent, the party scent, the date scent.
How long have you been working on the idea
So
for the perfumes?
long, so long. It's been like honestly like 5 years. I mean, it's like a small seed that you plant, and then you have this ongoing discussion and conversation, and it evolves, and then suddenly you're just there. And we have this amazing collaboration with 2 perfumeries that we really, really like them. We've been trying them because we work with them for our other products. So we have a really good relationship with them.
When it comes to distribution, how selective are you when it comes to brands and stores willing to feature your products?
Oh, it's a balance. It's a tricky balance. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you need to make money in order to survive, but you still want to be premium and you want to be selective, but sometimes you can't be that selective as you want. And I think that's the biggest challenge for us as
No.
a small brand.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think it's always like a balance, like you said, but also like, okay, I need to survive, or do I
Yeah.
need to go there or not, you
Yeah.
know? But I think I always think like it should be on different pillars. So how can you maybe find the commercial part in different kind of distribution model to be able to feed the other part, and also some accounts you might just see as a marketing display, you know. So it's different way to see it, but it's a really tricky part because it's always that kind of balance that you need to jiggle.
Yeah, and we also both quite small
Yeah.
brands, and we work with our own money without any big major investors. So we need to be very clever.
Each and every marketing workbook definitely amplifies that collaboration and cooperation is something very key. Do you see collaboration and cooperation as like part of your strategy, maybe for this year or for the upcoming years, be it with a retailer, a person, a celebrity, a nose, as you said, like someone who can develop a very specific perfume for your brand? Do you see that this would be a step for you to go?
Definitely. I think it's interesting, but it's like dating for me. So it needs to feel right and it needs to be the right moment. To do just collaboration just for doing it, I mean, it can be good and it can be really bad, you know? So I believe like it needs to be a kind of authentic moment when this collaboration goes to life. But what is the bridge in between our brands? How can we bring value to each other, you know? So I really look at it from a 360 perspective that a lot of things need to be aligned, but also the timing. So it's nothing that you can just force, you know, to do a collaboration. I think like you need to kind of understand your partner that you want to do the collaboration with, and what is their need, what is their vision, where do they want to go? Do you have the same path, or can you cross path, you know? And by then it will just be a natural, you know, way of doing things, like falling in love. I believe so.
Beautifully said.
I totally agree with you. I think there needs to be a push and pull effect. And we've been wanting to do collaborations for so many years, but we never found anyone to collab with. That's why it feels so great now with Corso Como. I feel like that is a collab.
I have to say, listening to you feels like the most genuine way of people expressing and, you know, telling their love story in a way, because I truly admire what you have done with both your brands, and hearing out that obviously there's like a lot of obstacles and challenges and how you master them and turn each and every new product into a crazy successful development is something which definitely gives hope to certainly a lot of future entrepreneurs and founders. But if you were to give those people, let's say 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever advice points when it comes to, hey, before you start your own brand, you should first sort out this and this and this, like what would be your, let's call, top line advice you would give to someone now thinking to start or not start a beauty brand?
We touched it a bit earlier, but I would say keep the naivety. It's so important because without that, you have nothing.
Yeah.
You need to believe in yourself, and you need to believe in your story, and you need to believe in the product that you want to sell. Without that, you have nothing. I mean, you can have a corporate chain, you can have like the production and everything ready, but without the story and without the passion, you have nothing.
I totally agree, and I will add on to that, like, take your time, and things takes time. We have a tendency to always look at the big brands that have been there for so many years, you know, and you want to compare with them. It's like you need to sometimes just like take it like brick by brick each day, you know, and don't look around, like be more focused in what you're doing, and let things grow, you know. It's like watering a flower, you know, it takes time. Every time you just need to water it a little
I'm
bit,
loving
you know?
all the metaphors
Yeah.
we've been like picturing
Yeah.
throughout the last couple of minutes. Really very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
I think all of you are painting a really beautiful picture when it comes to how the beauty industry should ideally look like, with the simplicity and cleanness and being very responsible to when it comes to applying product to our skin. But what would be the next more major step for you to go? How do you see grow being limited when you still want to be entirely driven and led by your personality and like your own brand when you run your own business?
I think for us, it's our own shops. We are now very dependent on our retailers and the salons, and it's up to them to how they present the brand. And we, of course, we are there and we adjust and we try to tell them what kind of approach we want, but it's really, really difficult and it takes a lot of time. But with our own universe and our own stores, it would be so much easier to present the brand to the world in the way that we want. So I think that's our big next step.
I totally agree. I mean, you need to take care of your channel and need to own, you know, your customer. So that will be, I mean, so important in the future for all brands, I believe, and it's gonna be challenging as well for the retail chains and everybody else there to actually compromise where we can feel like, okay, we belong here, and they understand what we're doing, and vice versa, you know. So I think that will be the next challenging, like, okay, how do you keep the brands out there and not that all the brands want to create their own spaces, you know?
Yeah.
I think what you really mentioned is that showing identity, having the right values, and taking care of the simplicity and the cleanness of beauty products is definitely something we all need to be more educated about. So I invite each and everyone listening and watching to definitely put some research onto what you guys do, and definitely dive deeper into how they can transform their beauty routine in the more Scandinavian way and not overtreat their skin with unnecessary products. Once again, thank you so much for joining in, for sharing a lot about your journeys, about your plans, and how you believe this industry is going to be developing in the next couple of years. So thank you so much again for your time, and have a truly great couple of days now here at the CIFF.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure, absolutely.